Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm trying to set the stage today, and the theme we have picked was Designing Services, the Future of Design, question mark. I'll try to look whether it's working, yes. I think more than 70% of our economy, as we know in Germany, is based on service production. And since the 80s, we see some activities in service design and names like Showstack. You know, probably the people who are a little bit familiar with the field know that they got important. And last year, I was a founding member of the Service Design Network in Germany. Only a couple facts at the beginning. But my focus today is on the necessary changes. We are facing within design as an overdue action to adjust to the profession. And I will speak as well about the deficiency within design and the design community and its educational backbone. I will speak about the missing models to understand practice, context, and the missing design philosophy in order to adjust to current needs within industry production. And necessarily, I will speak about the service design context and its groundings within design thinking and management and marketing. So, when I speak today about designing, and when I speak in general, I always speak in models and metaphors. I have no alternative, because that is the nature of language. When I speak, I need to use models and metaphors. And models and metaphors are theories, which is very important to understand. Therefore, whenever I speak, and we will speak today, we are working theoretically. I could also write as well to communicate models and theories about design thinking. I have to theorize it in order to communicate to you with others. That is the only way, I think, to abstract, to comprehend, and put into the language which is based on images, signs, and symbols, words, sentences. And here is my first critique. I'm criticizing designers because they lack of models to comprehend what they are doing. If I compare how many models I find in management today and in design, then I would say it's the ratio about 1 to 100. I find 100 publications in design, in management theory, and I find maybe 1 in design theory. This is one of the disadvantages. But this is, in my eyes, this is not so great for managers as well, since a good manager is a great designer. But nearly in the most cases, this is not understood. If I speak even within my colleagues here, I think I would get probably some disagreements. But this I leave for our discussion. You can't make sense out of such a statement, in my eyes, if you haven't invested into theories, in models to reflect what you are doing as a manager, as a designer, even as an educator. But models and theories are difficult. We can't work with them if you haven't reflected the limitations of models. Stochaviok sees 3 aspects in models. A theory represents, that means it is a model, an image of something. A theory simplifies, it reduces always the number of parts to the original by only capturing relevant parts. And it's pragmatic, it is created for a special purpose. It's always very important that the theory is always created for a special purpose. We always forget it. So, with a model or metaphor, which helps us to know what we are doing and what we are going to do, we are having insights, but we generate as well blind spots, as Garrett Morgan said. Because with the use of a map, with the use of a model or a theory, we are getting always busy comparing the order of the map with what we find outside. So this happens very often when I drive with the map through a city. I get totally lost because I'm always trying to compare what I find. So this is one of the real problematic aspects of a model or theory. So, but there are two ways to generate a model. One is systematically, meaning building up part by part, piece by piece, up to a system of reference of what we might be observing. And there is a second way, a metaphorical approach. We look for an image which already exists, which can handle the complexity of a situation. So it's a metaphor, I find a metaphor. It looks like something. So when I come back to my original question, the future of design, I speak about a model or a metaphor. Because, and this is in my eyes very important, we don't experience design, we experience writings, statements, discussions, objects, people, advertising, and we are making up what we call design. So always. Which means we experience documents, we experience artifacts created by people, and we experience as well the affection which has it on us. Therefore, we can say, whenever we are meeting together as we are doing today, we are shaping design. And what we call the future of design, since we are wording each other into reality in such a moment, we can say we are redesigning design. In that sense, I will draw a short history based on a book which is written by Pine and Gilmore, which is called The Experience Economy. I think it all started with commodities, things which came out of the ground, fruits, metal, coal, and we sold it on the market thousands of years ago, right? Commodities. And then, at a certain point, the Industrial Revolution arrived. We started to make goods out of commodities. Crafting and designing, we took fiber and we took ropes, we made ropes, we took cellulose, we made paper, and with paper we made books. We wrote with charcoal, we made pencils, and we created printing presses. We manufactured goods out of commodities. I think that was, everybody knows that was a huge success. But what happened over the last 50 or 60 years, and this is very important, we commoditized goods. I think there's a huge change that when you see we commoditize goods. We didn't care anymore who makes them. I think we don't care who makes them. We don't look who makes them. So the only thing we care about is pricing. So, you know, and it's clear. I think we are looking at goods, it's pricing. You know, look at, we go, in Germany especially, Aldi is the huge success, Aldi and Lidl, you know. It's all about pricing. It's not about the quality of goods. We don't care about it. It's always pricing, pricing, pricing. So the only thing we care about is price. Who makes the cheapest goods? So what happened then in order to prevent the trap of being only exposed to pricing, and it's very interesting when you look back, it's customization. So when we customize goods, and this is a very interesting shift, when we started to customize goods, when we individualize goods, then we got the service. Delivery on demand. This is a big shift from, for instance, when I look today in the internet, I think this is one of the solutions we find, that we order customized shoes and so forth, right? But this is already a service. So what we are serving here is that we are moving from an industrial economy and market to a service economy. And here we are today. More than 70% of our economy is based on services. And finally, designers are starting to catch up in my eyes. But we are not at the end. I think this is very important. What happened with goods before happens with services as well, because they're getting commoditized. especially in the media industry, and we are looking from a media perspective here very often, I think everybody can follow. Because a cell phone service is a service, right? But today, how many times did we switch last years? I switched a lot, because it's about pricing, pricing, pricing. We have the same issue. I changed my provider because I got the cheaper service. Especially also through the internet, I think we see a commoditization of services. So what does save us here? Since we are facing the decrease of value of services, services become commoditized, which means nothing else that they are exchangeable from here to there. So when we apply the same heuristics as we applied to goods, when we individualized goods and arrived at services, so what happens if we individualize services? This is today the question. This is what makes the difference in my eyes. When I individualize a service, then I arrive at an event. I more or less arrive at an experience. So the experiences are becoming the economic offerings. It's very difficult to sell in Germany. It's very easy to sell in the United States, right? I don't want to buy a car today, an industrial good or a service. I even don't want to buy a service, which is delivered when I need it. I want to have an individualized service and experience if I want to buy a car. For that reason, branding is so important. Got really more and more important. So this is what we are seeing and facing. And you know, when you look through the industry, boutique hotels, theme restaurants, we talked a lot last night about restaurants. Everything is an event. Experiential retailers, everything, and you can look into our society, which actually gives me an experience, is currently a successful service. So when we talk about the future of design, when we talk about service design, we already have to talk about a major change. How can we individualize services? For instance, the service, also here within the university, the service of university. I'm for sure that we only here as an institution can have a future if the university provides in the future a great experience. Not only education, it's a great experience what we have to provide. So for that reason, I want to finish into my last sentence with the question, what is actually an experience? And how can I design an experience? At first, experience is something personal. Drinking a great wine, listening to a great music, or experiencing a lecture like this one. It's extremely individual. It happens inside of me. I can talk about it, but it's always something I don't share in the first instance. It's always something individual. It's always, and this is very important, it's always something authentic. Each experience we are having is authentic, whether it is good or bad. Therefore, we can say that authenticity is the new consumer sensibility. So, how does design need to change within this kind of development? This is the question I'm having. Within the economy of commodities, design didn't play a role, we all know that. It came into place within industrialization, where design added values like functionality and aesthetics. In design, when we produce goods, design added functionality and aesthetics. Within services, design customized, diversified through branding and graded diversity. So here we are today, and we haven't actually seen a lot of development within. Okay, this is what I forgot. So this was also an experience, yeah? You make sense out of it. So I don't know how you make sense out of it, because I cannot access it. And probably it's very different for everybody. So I think here we are today, and we haven't actually seen a lot of development in the service arena before the 90s. So what comprehends the designing of service, for instance, a media product, customized is a service. I get delivered when I need it. And service design, as we all know, which will speak, I think my colleagues afterwards will speak a little bit more from the practical side, is the application of design thinking and design knowledge within the individualization and customization of goods. Therefore, we need to understand what the customers need, wants, and how we can deliver design. As a follow-up, we have created service blueprints. You will hear about the touch points. I research user needs, using ethnography, etc. We are using interaction design methods and so forth, right? But now we have the question on the table, how can we provide experience since experience are personal? Michael Biggs, as somebody who did research on that, has been indicating the difference between experiential feelings and content. I can share with you, and this is for me a very helpful differentiation, the experiential content. For instance, the wonderful white of the snow outside. But how I feel, if I focus on that, is inaccessible. So experiential content is always connected with experiential feeling, because when I look at the snow, I always have a feeling. I can't suppress that, but it's always there. So as soon as I start to observe my feelings, and this I can do when I look at the snow, the feelings are switching into the content. Suddenly, it's not about the content anymore, the white snow, it's about my feelings. So for that reason, Heidegger stated that phenomenological authenticity is extremely difficult to state. I can design the environment and can make an offer of a user journey. I can create a possibility of making sense through framing and reframing. But at the end, I cannot design the experience. Only the experiential content I can provide. The experiential feelings are inaccessible. So what does it mean for me as a designer? I think that we have a paradigm shift. In my eyes, it's a huge paradigm shift. Within the experience economy, we cannot fake things anymore. Authenticity is required. The designer's the role changes, and he has to be sure that he understands that design is limited to experiential content. The experiential feelings of the customers are independent and out of reach. Therefore, there is the only one advice within this new economic environment: being true to yourself, be what you say to others. I think that, in my eyes, that counts for design and management, and this is, in my eyes, the future of design. I think I will let it be at this point. Thanks a lot.